Hi, I'm Clare Gavin, and this is Terry. And welcome to our farm, which is right in the heart of Sandfly country, about 25 k's north of Murch and about an hour and a quarter south of Nelson. How did we get into this? Terry?
I became not really depressed, but certainly bored and boring in my late 40s, and sought the meaning of life, and eventually I found it. Trees, of course, and always been interested in trees, so we started madly looking around for a property to buy where we could plant trees. And we'd already had an interest in a forestry block, a pine block, which is sort of a steep block, but that's not too much fun. So we looked around for a place that had a bit more flatter terrain that we could use for ourselves and work ourselves.
And we've done some work over the years.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was really good timing, wasn't it? Because if we were to buy this block now,
well, one we couldn't do, we wouldn't. So we bought it in 94, and we started planting in 95. And if you look down here, you'll see that it's basically very bony river gravels. There's river terraces. You can see a terrace down there and a terrace there, and the sort of slopes in between. And we started by planting on the slopes, and because we were leasing the grazing to the local dairy farmer across the road. So we're standing now in our first lot of plantings, 1995, and these are Cypresses lusitanica, Mexican cypress, and remember this is a very bony sort of soils. There's very little topsoil here. There's mainly old sort of river terraces, but they're growing quite nicely. I've just started thinning them out now. At a certain stage of looking after trees, pruning takes up an awful amount of time. We're still involved in that quite heavily, but now we're in the stage where we've got to cut out about half of these nice trees we've already pruned and looked after for umpteen years, and but that's what we're doing in here. We're starting to thin these out, and we need to, because they're starting to affect the growth of the other trees. So these are about 18 years old now. These are Cypresses macrocarpa trees. They're clonal trees. These are a clone called Cuckoo Pup, which was one of the first clones that came out in the mid-1990s, and has proved to be fairly canker prone, and if you look around the country you'll not find very many cucumbers left, but this is a stand of them, and although there's a little bit of canker in here, most of them are still quite healthy trees. They're fairly slim form, they're clones, so there's a heck of a lot less pruning with clones in cypresses, and because they've got horizontal branches and more spaced out branches, so less branches to prune off.
So these are how many years old now?
These are 18 years old now.
18 years old.
And again, we're into where we really need to thin out about half them and let the other ones grow on. Well, you can see the river there. The farm is basically a long, narrow strip between State Highway 6 and the Buller River, and it's great for swimming in summer, and it's a very pretty river, but it's also a pretty fierce river in flood flow. And you can see some of the river work we've had done there, some groins there to try and stop the river attacking. But in behind here you can see some poplars that we've put in here. They're 2003, so they're 10 years old now. Partly that was with a thought to maybe to stop the river coming in here. Hasn't worked terribly well, but the trees are growing fine. Okay, well in 2000 we talked the kids into helping us with the planting, and so the winter of 2000, 2001, 2002 we planted for a week in the winter with all our 3 kids involved, and that was great. They haven't really kept up with the pruning so much. We mainly had to do that, but they love the place, they love coming here, and so it's not all bad.
So planting involved 3,000 trees to plant that week, and most of the planting was done using the bar because it's very, very stony soil. So it's really hard to plant.
I was the barman.
You were the barman.
What was your job?
I was the planter, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. So in behind us here, these are, we're getting on some really tasty trees now. These are Cypresses ovensii. It's a hybrid cypress, a cross between Lusitanica and Nootka cypress. So this was a paddock, and this is our 2000 plantings, and the first year with the kids planting. And so we've got State Highway 6 just over here, just a few metres beyond me there, and we put a buffer plantings of natives in there. It's pretty hard going getting natives going in grass. We had to sort of do roundup sprays for several years, and it's still pretty patchy. But we chose trees and shrubs which are less fire prone. There's no manuka and carnica and flammable sort of trees. There's more coprosmas and flaxes and coais and a few other things in there. So these are tremendous trees. These are NZR, that's a particular clone of macrocarpa, and just look at it, they give me the chills every time I see these ones. Are just beautiful, straight, tall, slim, elegant trees, not too many branches to prune off, and they're a really good tree. And we got these from Patrick, so Patrick, thank you very, very much. You've got some great babies on this place.
I think what this property offers us is a balance in our lives. We came from a busy workday week in Nelson, and this seemed to be the part of our lives that was the most sane part of our lives, and and we got a lot of pleasure from just working the land and being on the land. And
yeah, I'm not a gym bunny, and it's sort of working here and pruning and planting and with the crowbar that's kept us sort of semi-fit over the years, and we just love coming up here, getting away from the city, and we spend sort of 2 or 3 days a week here in our batch on the property, and it's just great. So we're standing in a grove of oak trees here. In 2005 we purchased a neighbouring block of about 7 hectares, and it had some existing trees on it, amongst them these oaks, which are just about 20 years old now, and they're growing really well. So we put the trees into a joint venture, which means that the kids can, if they wish to sell the property after we've gone, they can do that and still retain an interest in the trees if they wish to do that, of course.
So if you were thinking of buying a block of land, probably the first thing you need to sort out is where you're going to put your trees, and around that, wrapping around that, is the need to have access. So good roads, wide enough to take a truck for the logs to get out, when it comes time for harvesting, is really important.
Yeah, we discovered that I was a bit mean wanting more trees on the land initially, and 4 metres between trees and trees with the track down the middle is not enough. 5 metres or more, and then you can drive through and get a truck through with loads of rock or trees on the back of the car. My advice would be just get on with it, and the sooner you get on with it the better, because we're all getting older at the same rate, and get a start on, get those trees in the ground and enjoy them.
And I think also those trees are actually growing every day for you, every day, 365 days of the year. So the sooner you get them in, the sooner they get to be tall trees.